In general, I don't really know exactly how long this will be, but I guess this will be more like an introduction video for anyone who's ever watched my little videos that I have or haven't actually really fully, I don't know, like for people who are new to it. In general, like I recorded for a long time and then I actually didn't end up doing much at all. Like I was recording for a while because I actually kind of wanted to try and enjoy it, but I ended up stopping recording eventually just because the stuff ended up going on. So this is kind of like a restart for me just to see exactly how well it would go, just to kind of see if it goes decently, kind of see exactly how it would work. In general, at least on this very specific channel, what I'll probably end up doing is probably what you see going on now. So basically be playing Genshin, kind of like talking about some stuff that's going on. If it's something important, I could talk about it there. If it's not necessarily something that's super important, I can basically go it into a certain way that kind of sees exactly what's going on, exactly how everyone else who watches my videos are doing. It's gonna be used at least initially to try to see exactly how well everything could be done. At least to start, these probably actually won't be that edited very much, at least until I actually learn to edit, until I can actually learn to do most of the editing stuff on my own, like in general. Genshin will probably be the main thing that I record at least at first, just because I usually can play the solo without really much of an issue. Like I'm not really gonna run into people necessarily not wanting to be recorded. It's just something I can record by myself. Whatever I really wanted to record about it, I can. It's more going to be one of those things where it's going to be very hard to necessarily figure out exactly how I want to record them. Like, how do I necessarily want them to be done? Like, that kind of stuff. Like, I would love to do it kind of stuff, but I actually don't really know fully exactly how I want to do them. It's going to be the main part. Like, just trying to do this in such a way where it actually works for me, but also works with everything else too. So in general, I am looking for like a lot of advice when it comes to this kind of stuff, given this is basically my, as I said earlier, like it's my second attempt at this, just because I want to try it again. I want to see exactly how much I can truly enjoy when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's going to be very important to me to figure out exactly, at least in general, how well can I do it, but also to just try to enjoy myself by playing what I care for. The eventually what I may end up doing is recording some other stuff. Some of it may actually end up being like things like Destiny 2 and Rocket League to the other games that I end up trying to play. But that's really going to be weird just to see exactly if I can play them with other people, if I can play them solo, like people tend to do on there. It's just going to be a learning process in general. That's really what most of this is just going to be. Me trying to learn exactly how I want to do it, but also learn in terms of how well can I actually physically do it. Eventually, uh, I may end up recording, like, besides just the Destiny stuff, I may end up recording maybe like deck profiles for a card game that I play, because I uh, play Cardfight Vanguard, a really interesting game to me at least. And for anyone else who likes the game, I may not have like the best decks in terms of what you're necessarily looking for, but I do love the game and I would like to show people exactly what I have and what I am currently building and what other plans that I have to build. Uh, eventually when I get the equipment to physically do it, what I may end up doing is having one of my friends who also play the game to have him uh, play against me either with my decks or he can use his. It's really gonna be based on necessarily how exactly can I feel like how exactly in terms of how exactly can I feel when I'm like successful at it. Like I don't necessarily know exactly how that in and of itself will do if I do gaming. Plus that I don't really know exactly how well that would work. But in general, it may end up working in my favor just due to the fact that because I don't really know what I'm fully doing, I can basically do it in such a way where, at least in the beginning anyway, I can record stuff like this where I don't necessarily have to worry about some things, but I may have to worry about others when it comes to music, for example, when it comes to like music copyright, like I can use like Genshin's music that Genshin has or Destiny's music or whatever, and maybe I wouldn't have to worry about it that much. But that in and of itself is just something I'll have to figure out. I'll have to figure out exactly how everyone wants it, but also necessarily how I want it. It's gonna be one of those. It's definitely gonna be a struggle at least from this standpoint. In general, I want to, I want feedback, but I also don't really know exactly how I want that feedback. When it comes to like, for example, like what everyone wants. Like, let's say I get enough subs to where my subs, for example, would tell me, like, like if I would ask exactly in terms of like what games do people want to see me play, for example, like that kind of stuff. That's something that I would actually very like to see eventually, like see that kind of stuff. Just because like I do like the games that I play, but I would actually like to try something new. For example, like if I maybe like let's say like people wanted me to play Dark Souls, for example, which is something I've never actually played before. Like maybe I could do like a series on it of like me basically going in blind because I wouldn't necessarily know exactly what to look for. For example, it's something that I have a very interest in trying to do, but not necessarily a whole lot of experience with it. Or like for example, like if you really wanted me to record my Minecraft because I play Minecraft a little bit here and there too, like it's something that I would be up for, but it's also something that I don't really know, like, if I really should do it, because a lot of people do record Minecraft, just like this, like, a lot of people record them playing Genshin, like, for example, like, a lot of people do that. It's really trying to be unique, but also trying to be, like, also not necessarily going away from what people actually kind of like. That's where, my subs would come in, like, if I actually had it, like I would have stuff like that where I would have like you guys tell me if you guys liked how I do it, if you guys didn't like how I do it, and obviously that could change over time. Like in general, it would be a lot of fun to just see exactly how you guys think, how I think, that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of things that can happen in general to make the game either more annoying or less annoying for me personally. But overall, like I'm very interested in hearing feedback. Obviously this isn't necessarily one of those videos that's like me basically trying to be like necessarily fully professional about it. It's me trying to make a decent introduction, but also and kind of tell people what's going on, that kind of stuff, without actually trying to go on and on, which definitely did not work here. That's kind of what happened. I just went on and on. But honestly, I'm very much open to what people think in general. Like I'm very open to trying to see what people would look for when it comes to this kind of stuff, what I need for me to physically succeed at this, but also kind of have a lot of fun with it. Like I'm nothing without my subs. I need people to give me advice. I can't do this by myself, but I also do want to in general play stuff I enjoy, but also have you guys enjoy. Like it's gonna be one of those things. I'll figure it out eventually. It's just gonna be one of those things where I don't necessarily know what I'm doing, and that's obvious just by how I talk, but in general, I want to have fun, and I know I've said that a lot, but I do want to try to have some enjoyment with this, but also have some professionalism with it. So over time, it should be a little better over time, but there's a lot of stuff that I want to try that may or may not work, but at least currently, I just want to take one step at a time. This video in general was just my way of trying to say my thoughts in a relatively meaningful manner and to try to say kind of exactly what I would actually be trying to record and what exactly would I be trying to or what other stuff that I would necessarily be trying to work on, for example, like as I said earlier, like when it comes to me recording this, for example, this is something Genshin Impact is something that I love. It's something that I am very passionate about when it comes to recording. But there's a lot of other things that I want to record or what to do that I don't necessarily equipment for right now. Like technically a lot of this I would be doing on the PC that I have, which is kind of old. So things may not necessarily sound the way that people seem to want them. But overall, the point the point of it is just to try to get it to work and to see exactly how this would go. So at least probably within a few weeks, I'll try to record another video that's kind of similar to this. Maybe about in terms of like my thoughts about certain aspects of a video game, for example. I may end up turning at least part of this into like a review-based thing of how I feel about certain characters, for example, like in Genshin, or like if I was recording something based on Destiny 2, like how I feel about Destiny 2, like some other review-based YouTubers do. People like people who do reviews based on guns, for example, in Destiny 2, or something like, as I said, character based, like in Genshin, or just in like armor piece wise, because some YouTubers do armor pieces too, and guns. They do both. So a lot of this was just me trying to get my thoughts out, trying to make sure that at least people who, like the new people who try to watch my channel, a decent understanding of what I'm trying to start with when it comes to based on how much time I have and how much I really want to do this. The plan, at least to start, is to try to record at least once to twice a week to see exactly how much I can actually truly do. That's the plan, at least for right now. If that works, it works. If it should work, because of the job that I have. Normally, it's not technically very laborious when it comes to how much time I'm actually physically there. I don't work there that often. So in general, it's not really that busy necessarily. I have a decent amount of time during the week to do stuff like this in terms of what I wanted to do. So in general, I should be able to do this at least 2 to 3 times a week, like a decent idea of what I want to try. In general, I'm hoping this will work. It may not. I don't know. That's why I'm trying again. You have to fail you have to at least try and fail to at least know exactly where to go. That's kind of how I feel about it. Regardless of whether I succeed or fail at my second attempt at this, it's something that I'm looking forward to. It's something that I've been considering for a while, trying something like this again, in terms of where I really wanted to go with it. I don't really care necessarily in terms of like the money aspect of this. Like, that's not really the reason why I'm wanting to do it. As I mentioned, like, it's just enjoyment. It's just something that I've wanted to do, and this is my way of trying to help myself and trying to entertain other people. It's kind of what the point is, regardless of whether that in of itself is possible. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But in general, this is a lot of fun. So far, anyway. Like, beforehand, when I tried this, I didn't really have much experience with it. It wasn't something that I really necessarily fully tried. It wasn't necessarily something that I really truly thought I had a whole lot of time for. If people really want to see some of my little old videos that I still have on the channel, like, I can do that. It's something that I'm willing to let people see, but the quality of them is I guess. It's not like there isn't like a lot of like the oldest ones. There isn't any sound. There's no music. Like nothing. Like it's just going through whatever. Like that's what it was. Later in that set of stuff that I had, I started putting like the sound effects and stuff, like the sound effects of the characters actually moving. But once again, there was no sound. Like there wasn't any like voice, for example. Like I didn't really have that. I didn't really necessarily know how to do this. And I don't really know how to do it even now, but from watching people and how they actually do things in terms of how they do commentaries, like honestly, this is something that of interest in terms of that I have an interest in of trying to get better at, like in terms of trying to make things a little more enjoyable to physically watch me play whichever game I decide to play. But honestly, it's just going to be, as I said, it's just going to be a learning experience. It's not going to be something that I'm going to be good at the first time. That's, not really how that works. But in general, as I said, in general, like, it's just learning. Me trying to learn, me trying to be better for everyone who does sub. This video in particular, however, I'm really sorry about, like, the rambling on. Like, it just happens. A lot of the time, I can't really get my words out in a relatively meaningful manner, but I will try to get better with this. As I said, to make it more enjoyable. In general, though, I'm new at this. It's just not something I'm good at. I'm actually, overall, like, I am looking forward to hearing comments on this particular thing about what I did right, what I did wrong. If everyone who does watch this would hit the like button or subscribe, depending on which one they really want to do, they can do both. I don't mind. It would be something I would be very enjoyable with if people would do that for me, just because it would give me a decent understanding in terms of the commenting too of what I can do or what I can't do, that kind of stuff. I don't really want to bore you guys every time with stuff like this, but this is really what I'm starting with, and this is really all I have. I hope everyone has a good day or night, depending on when you see this. Or good morning, if you guys see this in the morning. I don't know. I just hope everyone has a good one. Bye.